I want you and that young man to tie that knot. I'm gonna pray for you. And I want you to hold on to God's unchanging hand, because he helped Joshua fight the battle of Jericho. Yes.
It's the old
He helped Daniel get out the lion's den. He helped Gilligan get off the island.
Let me get straight to the business. Yeah. Got them lions in the building. Yeah. Why you lying to the children? Yeah. Why you lying to the children? Yeah. RIGHTEOUS. Man, you know I've been the best. Man, they know they no contest. Yahuwah, he do the best. We will not see you tomorrow. Cause you cannot go to thought. All the sons and all the daughters. Standing hard with big manotas. But my son, he made me Taurus. On that line, I'm still a Taurus. Karate kicking Chuck Norris, 4-5 on my waist. If he started, will not hesitate to get retarded. Oh lordy, he ain't got a PowerPoint, he farted. He's running to the hills like a Philistine. Jihad hitting Hamites with the guillotine. Situation turned up with the Ratchet team. JJ 7000 to the bait league. Yeah, I know them haters gon' hate me, but he won't debate me. Pistol off safety. He respond, come wake me. If I don't get up, nigga shake me. If he don't show up, then he fake G. I touch down and make these nigga nuts hate me. Dear brother. Ballin' and crawling all the way from H-time. Let me get straight to the business. Man, them lions in the building. Why you lying to them children? Why you lying to them children? You gon' cry, you gon' get it. Me, I'm like a frog, nigga, ribbit. Of course, it's in the spirit. I just got the Porsche, she can steer it. Michael got the raw, Shaq and Willie. Lamborghini doors, you better not spill it. Mama's high, say I'm more than just a villain. Mama's cry, arms open wide for her children. Suicide, immortalized as the realest, yeah. Death by cop, black suicide. Let me get straight to the business. Got them lions in the building. Why you lying to them children? Yeah. Why you lying to them children? RIGHTEOUS. Man, you know I've been there. Man, they know they no contest. Yahuwah, he do the best. Wow, what's that? Why didn't take it over? Number one debate league, you heard me? When it's up, it's stuck. I'm stepping on everything, nigga. Metaphorically, of course.
Yeah. Welcome to the den. Welcome to the den. There it is. Yeah. Lions in the building. Lions Den. Welcome to the den. You know who it is. It's the most hated, the most underrated, the most underdebated, the most underestimated. It's the Smusher Heads, the Smushinator. I'm your Smusher man, baby. I'm here, you know what I'm saying? Big shout out, Sister La Jefe, Karima. Introduce yourself. After her.
How you doing, everybody? Please hit the like if you like the video. Thanks for tuning in. I know we ain't been on in a while, but here we go. Share the video if you interested in letting everybody else hear what we got to say. And subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you.
Big shout out to the Queen. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to JJ 7000 who's not in the building. at the moment. Today, I want to introduce y'all to my cousin. You know what I'm saying? What you go by? What's your handle right now? King DDD. Con. So introduce yourself. You know what I'm saying? Tell people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is King Didi. Technically, I guess I would consider myself a Christian mystic. And yeah, really, I'm just a guy, just some dude who knows a few things, maybe.
Con. All right, yeah. So today, you know what I'm saying? La Jefe, you know what I'm saying? She dropped a nice little title, you know what I'm saying, for this situation, and a fly, a little presentation, you know what I'm saying? So we here to discuss the decline or the fall, the dying of an empire, you know what I'm saying? And specifically, you know what I'm saying, we're coming in discussing what the current state of affairs are, financial decline, economic decline, social decline, what that means, you know what I'm saying, to us, you know, and what it could possibly mean, you know, from a scriptural standpoint, you know, for those who subscribe, you know, to the Bible. Understood? So I'm gonna start it off with a scripture, obviously, you know what I'm saying? All praise to the Most High. And this is Revelations chapter 17, you know what I mean, which I think is, you know, pertinent and you know, it's just on point. And it says here in 17 verses 1, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked to me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto you the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Verses 3 says, so he carried me away in the spirit unto the wilderness, into the wilderness, and I saw the woman sat upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon, and this is verse 5, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna stop there. And then, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let that marinate for those in the audience. Anybody who Sister Karima, if you want to place the link in the chat for anyone who wants to discuss this, you know. But me and my cousin, we were having a really good conversation in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? And what I started off with was the question of what was it? Cause how was America? Is America in decline? And in what ways was that in decline? I think you began discussing some of the basic financial issues that were going on in America.
Yeah, we were talking about the U.S. dollar and the decline of and BRICS. A lot of people don't know what BRICS is. BRICS is an acronym that stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and several other nations. And they're all leaving the U.S. dollar. They're running, basically.
Right. So where were we when we had gotten to, you know what I'm saying, the financial what was it? It was inflation and stuff like that. But we had talked and discussed how the fall of Rome. How did we get there, man? We was talking about the fall of Rome and some of the things that transpire when there is a financial loss, and how wars and stuff were. I don't know how we posed it. We should have recorded out.
The financial loss. So what were we talking? We were talking about the decline of. So the Rome started with the gender.
Before we got, we were talking.
Oh, so yeah, with what it is the inflation. So right now we're dealing with lots and lots of inflation, and we're in danger of entering into hyperinflation.
You started off first with
Right. So
go there first.
during the pandemic, they printed, basically they doubled the amount of money in circulation. And printing that much money causes a lot of inflation. And so now, like I said, we're in danger of something called hyperinflation. And hyperinflation is what happened before World War II, during the Weimar Republic in Germany,
Right.
and in several other places in the world. And what I said before, that people were, using wheelbarrows of cash to pay for loaves of bread, and really the only solution to that is to go to war. When you go to, once you go to war, you can, save your economy that way, basically. And so, a year or two ago, we could have predicted that these wars that are currently starting, both the war in Ukraine and the war in Israel, could easily have been predicted, a year or two ago.
Exactly.
Because that's the only way that they can really stop the inflation.
Right. So I find that interesting because you then saying went back in time and brought up the fall of the Roman Empire. You know what I'm saying? And you stated that there were clear signs,
Right.
saying right before the fall of that empire, right?
Right.
So was there a financial aspect even with Rome's, first and foremost? Was there a financial fall?
Yeah. So Rome overextended itself. The empires of old would just try to expand as much as possible and as fast as possible, and that's unsustainable. You know what I mean? So that's basically what Rome did. They spread too far, and eventually they weren't able to, maintain the various territories that they were trying to expand in, and territories that they had over. Yeah, control of it. Yeah.
So what was one of those signs? Let's talk that. Let's touch that for a second, because I thought this was really, really interesting, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
So this isn't my idea. It's like when at the beginning of the Roman Empire, there were the art, and everything was about masculinity and muscles. All the statues and things, they all were muscular, and there was a wrestling culture and everything like that. And then towards the end of the empire, they kind of went into a gender bending mode where everything is soft. Men are all soft, and the women were more masculine, and you know, and
So you saw in the culture,
right,
gender.
yeah. And there's a scholar, Camille Paglia is her name. She talks, and there's a lot of other, and it's not just Rome.
Right.
It's other empires as well. They start, you know.
So other empires took of the cup of her fornication and abomination. Is what you're saying. Right? It's really what you're saying to me right now. But yeah, you know, it's interesting. So we went there, and I think we talked a little deep into the. What I do want to touch on though is the going in even into that gender, other souls, because you're talking about people,
Mhm.
which is extremely military. But I mean, I suppose
Your mic's not on. Your mic's on.
So anyway, so
Can you guys hear okay?
Lahepe, can you hear? I was
He
kind
going,
of using
y'all going in and out a little bit.
Was it echoing?
Yeah, a little bit now, but at first it wasn't.
Right. That's why I was stopping. I had shut
Okay.
my mic off, so I was
I see.
kind of just going on yours.
All right, all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's change this.
So you can hear me a little bit louder.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So that way we'll just avoid the echo.
Okay. Can you hear him okay?
Yep. You hear me, Lahepe? Yeah, I hear myself.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. All right. So so we're talking about inflation, right? And you basically brought up assets and how inflation kind of functions 3% projection.
Right. So every year, the U.S. dollar, and this is the based on what the central bank projects, right? So that the central bank tries to maintain a 3% inflation rate every year. So that means that the dollar shrinks by 3% every single year. And that's the target. And so what that does is it makes it so that like what I said before, if I have if I have $100 worth of gold, right, then at the end of the year, now I have $103 worth of gold.
Right.
And so all of us, we're all dealing in dollars, and all the rich people, they all have all sorts of diversified assets.
Right.
You know what I mean? And those diversified assets,
Diversify your ball.
those diversified assets, they don't depreciate, they appreciate. You know, and so it's more beneficial for rich folks, basically. But also anyone who's holding dollars is basically losing money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So what you had expressed before is that when there is a decline in the value of cash dollars, then assets, other diversified assets, actually become more valuable.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So really.
So when we're talking about government spending, so when the government spends money, most of the time they print.
Right.
And when they print that money, what happens is the people who are holding assets, their assets inflate faster. So they make more money, right? Because the dollar is shrinking. You know, the more money you print, the more the value of the dollar goes down. Right. The faster the value of the dollar goes down. And then so everyone who's holding assets, their assets go up. So the gold, if you're holding gold,
right,
you know what I mean? So like if the dollar cuts in half, like it did during the pandemic,
right,
then your gold doubles.
It's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but this also it's kind of like a tax, right? Because basically there's nothing that's free. You can't get anything for free. You know what I mean? And so if you're getting free money, they're taxing you somewhere else. You know? And so anyone who's holding gold or holding money, I'm sorry, is really kind of getting taxed. And that includes other nations. And so, like I said, there are certain nations that are breaking away,
right,
and they're joining BRICS,
right,
you know, and they're leaving the U.S. dollar. They're leaving what's called the petrodollar,
gotcha,
which is what ties the dollar to gold. And that's like a little bit beyond me. That's pretty complicated stuff.
gotcha.
But still, it's a major, you know, part of the U.S. economy and the global economy,
right,
and a major thing that the U.S. wants to keep. You know, they want to keep the petrodollar going,
right,
and they're losing it. You know,
right,
and they're losing influence because these other countries like China and Russia, and you know what I mean, and Brazil,
right,
India. These are major countries. You know, India, the population is
right,
ridiculous. You know, a lot of people in India.
right.
So
You had said something, and it was on the lines of where we're. I just had a thought. It was about it was other nations. What brought back the memory, the thought of what we have to say? Because this is important too. And I just had it on the tip of my tongue. But man,
yeah, it's definitely a problem that other nations are trying to split away from us, and
right,
that there's you know, and really there's war. You know what I mean? War, the inflation causes war.
right,
You know what I mean? Because once the inflation gets too high, there's no place for the nations to go.
right.
You know,
He was
financially.
talking about how the money was, like people were backing out, kind of like how people back out of
Right.
a stock, you know
Out
what I'm
of
saying, or whatever, causing the stock to drop, and how the American dollar, you know what I'm saying, is not being used. That's what you were basically saying. That's where I wanted to, because there was a real serious point that you had made concerning that I thought was really pertinent. Trying to recall it. This thought left my thoughts for came in.
yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, discuss that, man. How these people, like you said, these countries are backing out.
Yeah, and you know, when they back out, we lose influence. The United States loses influence,
Right.
and really our economy is stagnating.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's an expansionist economy. We have to expand, even if we're not
The technology, that's what you're saying.
Okay.
There was a stagnation.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah. So you know, this whole thing with the computers and everything, people act like you know, computers are being innovated constantly and this, that, and the other. But when you look at the innovation of the
right.
1930s or early 1900s, you know, we went from basically, you know, dirt farmers to building New York City, you know, subways, skyscrapers, you know, automobiles, trains, all this stuff. The level of innovation has shrunk now. We're in a kind of stagnate period where there's not much going on. You know what I mean? Like the computers are interesting, but they don't really, you know, they're
Produced.
yeah, yeah. It's just not. It's not. We're not in the Jetsons. You know what I mean? But that stagnation causes us to, um, you know, it causes a lot of problems.
Right.
Causes a lot of issues. Um,
Right. So I was gonna read this I had a couple sources, I think. Hold on. I wanted to read one that specifically from the New York Times article, and it was written by like Philip or whatever. But I thought it was interesting because I wanted to like, look at real fast, you know, so maybe on what you think, you know, yeah, or black devil. It says here, and this is 2023, September 4th, 2023. America is an empire in decline. That doesn't mean at all. Okay? America likes to think of itself in Garland terms. The shining city on a hill, indispensable nation, the land of the free. There's something so great to be sure. But there's another phrase not always so flattering applied to unlike other notions which originated from the birth struggle of the Republic. This one dates to the final stages of World War II, like you said earlier. At the famous Bretton Woods Conference, the United States developed an international trading financial system that functioned in practice as an imperial economy. This proportionately steering the fruits of global growth to the citizens of the West. Alongside America, created NATO to provide security umbrella for its allies and organizations such as the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development to forge common policies over the second half of the century. This system attained a degree of world domination no previous empire had ever known.
I don't think they can hear you.
Can they hear me now? Will they not hear?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
You can hear? Okay.
Okay, good. All right. So in the past 2 decades, however, it has sunk into decline. At the turn of the millennium, the Western world accounted for 4/5 of global economic output. Today, that shares is down to 3/5 and falling, while Western countries struggle to restore their dynamism. Developing countries now have the world's fastest growing economies through institutions like BRICS, just like you said. Everything you just said is pretty much in here. And encouraged by China, they are converting their growing economic heft into political power.
Yeah. So here's what I'll say about that is that you know, during the Bush years, we exported all of our manufacturing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And so China manufactures almost everything.
Right.
In this country. You know,
that.
during the pandemic, you know, we're sitting around waiting for Chinese people to make masks for us.
Right.
Because we ran out of masks. You know what I mean? So, and really, this is a weak spot, you know, and a bunch of politicians even said that. They said that this is a major weak spot in our economy and in our country, you know, where if we're not manufacturing anything, and there's any kind of economic shock, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or if there's any kind of cutoff, you know, from the outside world, you know, like a pandemic,
Right.
then, you know, we become vulnerable, and
Right. Because we're dependent upon
other economies.
I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really pretty much did cover a lot of the things that you had already established. So it says here, it says in the same way, America's decline is a product of its success. Although developing countries grew more slowly in the post-war period than their Western counterparts, they still grew. By the end of the century, they had started to convert that expanding economic clout into political and diplomatic power. Not only had they begun to acquire the capacity to negotiate better trade and financial agreements, but they also had a crucial bargaining chip in the form of two resources Western businesses now needed: growing markets and abundant supply of labor. So this is basically, saying only reaffirming, not like, almost everything that you had previously stated, before I even read this article, honestly. So I kind of feel like I'm repeating. Oh, wait, there's more. Rome, the story goes, was toppled by so-called barbarian invasions. The truth is more complex. Within a single chaotic generation on either side of the 400 of the year 400, several confederations crossed into the western half of the empire. On Roman soil, these immigrants, formed themselves into still larger alliances, like the Visigoths and the Vandals, that were too powerful for the empire to defeat. Goes on to say some commentators have been quick to see modern migration into the West as an equally destructive force, but that's the wrong lesson to take from the Roman history. Its its economy was primarily agricultural and steady. For one power rose, another had to fall, since you could not simply expand the resource based to support both. So when Rome proved unstable to defeat the new contenders, it lost a source of taxes from which it could not recover. So it says here, I'll read this next paragraph, and then you can tell me what you think here. Today's situation is completely different thanks to technological change. Economic growth is no longer a zero-sum game, possibly in one place but not another. Although Western countries no longer dominate manufacturing and services, they still retain the edge in knowledge of extensive industries like artificial intelligence, pharmaceuticals, or where they built brand value, such as in luxury goods, sports and entertainment, economic growth, even in more slowly than in the periphery. We can continue in the West. So,
I disagree with that.
Yeah. I kind of knew you would, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, you said that the technology is not.
Is this the Times?
This is the New York Times, but this is some guest contributor or guest.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is the issue. This is the issue that we've talked a little bit about.
Yeah.
Concerns that I have with the intellectual class.
Okay.
So, yes, someone at the New York Times is
no anti-intellectualism here.
Well, someone at the New York Times is going to claim that our knowledge economy is booming
because of technology
and
technological.
And there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. We don't have to worry about, manufacturing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because the New York Times, people at the New York Times are in the position to,
Yeah. Let's pull it.
Yeah.
So let me see this. This one says American Magazine. Nuts. Let me see if we got anything that's a little bit more. We need some primary sources. That was a secondary source. You know, so that was a secondary source. Teasing.
But yeah, there's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems, and one of the problems is that we don't have manufacturing here. And here's what I'll say is that power corrupts. Even if the nice teacher lady has all the power, it's still corrupting. So it doesn't matter if the the people at the New York Times are nice and they care about diversity and they care about all these things. They still are grasping tightly to their power.
Right.
Right. So this is also a problem.
Yeah.
The intellectual classes, clinging to their power and to their trying to save face and all this kind of stuff. That's an issue.
That is?
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that.
Centralized power, it doesn't matter.
I can't be perfect.
Doesn't it doesn't matter where.
I don't know if you remember Team John, he used to always say that we would, instead of saying I concur, we would say I can't concur.
That's funny.
So but we got a little deeper, man. We got into we discussed in this whole topic, you know what I'm saying, with the financial fall, the decline, you know what I'm saying, with the dollar, you know what I'm saying, the value of the dollar, the rich is getting richer and the poor getting poorer. And the next thing is the wars. How do you feel? And I know you've already expressed yourself on this about the present and current state of affairs with Israel and Palestine and America's support or financial economic support for them.
Well, the economic
Can of
support
worms, I know.
is ridiculous. I think that I don't even know if I would want to say it.
Take your time, choose your words. You know what I'm saying? Be wise. I'm not asking you to, you know what I'm saying, jump off the, you know what I'm saying, the Eiffel Tower.
I don't think there's a resolution to the conflict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no resolution to this conflict.
Right.
It's people. We've been calling for peace in the Middle East for years. So, and it's not going to come.
Right.
There's no resolution to this conflict, but it benefits all the people that are in power.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of people are saying that the Israeli government basically chose Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And they've been funding Hamas for 10 years.
Right.
So because war is money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right. It's like battle raps. You know what I'm saying? People do battle rap because they know it's going to
benefit them.
It's going to bring
people
online. This track. You know what I'm saying? People looking to buy Jay-Z's. You know what I'm saying?
But what I will say is that the culture of Israel is different from the culture of the United States, and the more we engage with Israel, the more and I'm talking about the nation. I'm talking about the state.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about the people.
Right.
Actually, I think very highly of the people
mm-hmm.
of both Israel and Palestine. But the state, not so much.
Right. The politics.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think that the more we engage and the more we are, focused on this conflict, the more like Israel will become.
Right.
And that's very dangerous,
Right.
in my opinion. Because, they engage in censorship,
Mm-hmm.
they engage in conscription. It's mandatory for
Mm-hmm.
every citizen in Israel.
What is that?
Conscription?
Yeah.
Okay, so both of these wars, all sides
Right.
are engaging in conscription. That means that you're required. It's not voluntary
Okay.
to, services. It's not voluntary service. We have voluntary service in America.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So technically,
It's forced labor.
it's all slave. They're all slaves. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Both in
Does that
the Ukraine and Russia,
Yeah.
and in this war as well.
Okay.
Israel.
Does that minimize? This is a random question. Does that minimize homelessness or poverty in those areas? Look, required to perform.
I have no idea. I've never even thought about it.
Okay.
Never thought about it.
Sounds interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never heard of conscription.
Conscription. The way that Israel is set up, I would imagine. I don't really know.
Uh-huh.
I would imagine that it would be difficult to be homeless
And have to perform some form of.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of.
So there's like, yeah, that's interesting. That opens up.
There's probably a lot of economic support in Israel.
I know that,
but I don't know. I don't really know.
Towards, I'm saying, I've heard a lot of treatment towards Ethiopian Beta Israel, and some of the treatment towards the Israelites in Dimona.
It's bad.
You know what I'm saying? Saying our brothers,
not good.
Israelite brothers out there.
Uh-huh. I heard they were deporting them.
I've never heard that yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I have to look it up. I don't really know if that's true.
Look into that.
Yeah.
Because that's the first time I heard of that.
Yeah, I heard that crazy. All the black folks out there were being deported. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's true, but
interesting. So yeah, man. See here. That's a real interesting topic, with the war. I'm not gonna get too, deep, heavy and real with the biblical. I don't have any of my biblical heads in here. Is there anybody in the audience who wants to get into some prophetic, analysis of this here, topic? You're more than welcome. I'm gonna check the chat and see if there's anybody in the chat. And I don't know if Sister Karima have placed the StreamYard in there. Right. Dre Day, he brings up Revelations chapter 11, the second woe of World War II is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, Revelations chapter 11, verses 14. I'll read it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I think that's what you got written there. I got you. He says, Micah here. Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. Gotcha.
So maybe we should talk about Zionism, huh?
Yeah, let's discuss that. Zionism. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it.
Gotcha.
But what I do know is that really before the 1800s,
right?
It didn't exist.
Okay.
So evangelicals in America in the 1850s or something, basically they're the ones who came up with this kind of end times doctrine where we're supposed to participate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the protection of Israel and the buttressing of the Israeli state or whatever it is.
Right.
But before that, that's all God's job.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
And this is
We're
doctrinally?
Yeah, like we're not supposed to be involved, as far as I know, in in you know what I mean, the coming of the Armageddon. You know what I mean? Like that's not our job.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Whereas the Zionists, these are evangelicals from the, you know what I mean, and what do they call it? Eschatology. Eschatology is the word.
Okay. I thought Zionism was more of an idea among anyone, and specifically, they related to Judaism. But it also could relate to anyone who wanted to repatriate back to a motherland, saying after being maybe taken in captivity or being, saying in the diaspora of the Americas. Zionism for African Americans and even for like Moorish science and for certain Black Jewish communities back in 1920s. Zionism was a return back to either Israel, Jerusalem, Ethiopia, or or Africa, back to the continent, back to the motherland. But that's how Zionism is interpreted from that perspective. Now I know that there's a difference between a lot of the rabbinical like Jewish groups after like post or post Talmudic Jewish priests and stuff like that in different countries and stuff in Europe and in Western Asia, who wanted to interpret, Zionism as a return back specifically to Israel, the land, and we had that in 1948, and that had, its own, cultural ideas and perceptions as well. So I'm not particularly, versed in how their Zionism works.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's not my Zionism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it, but from what I understand, this is a process of trying to rebuild the state of Israel, right?
Okay.
And the purpose of rebuilding the state of Israel, right, is so that the the end times prophecies can be fulfilled.
Right.
You know what I mean? And from what I have seen, or from what I've read, is that this is like a new interpretation.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that interpretation comes, like I said before, it comes from these evangelicals.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So you think that like Sephardic and Ashkenazi Jews adopted an evangelical form of Zionism from Western evangelical?
That's right.
For real?
Yeah.
How? How, bro? I don't. Wait, hold on. We gotta rewind and come again. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Is there any way we can substantiate that?
Well, look. I mean, there's
that's interesting. I've never heard that.
Look at the level of support. Look at the levels of support.
It's coming from the church.
They're receiving. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'd be curious to see what people say in the comments about.
Yeah.
About that kind of thing.
That's interesting.
But again, I will reiterate that this is my kind of surface knowledge of, you know, what's going on. And but yeah, I don't think I can see comments. If you can see comments.
Oh yeah, you can go to the comments.
Oh, chat. There we go.
Chat, and then you go over to comments and not chat. That's the back chat.
Oh, cool. Right. But I mean, I think you can make the interpretation that like maybe these different chains of events are ordained. Maybe this is
Well,
what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, so IDOI till doves cry. I'm saying Smush Gang. You know what I'm saying? So let me explain to you, you know what I'm saying, since this Zion is at the wheel. All right. So here's how I teach it. You know what I'm saying? Here's how Most High gave and perceived to me is that prior to any judgment, any end of what they call a dispensational age and end of a age, right? From prophetic standpoint, you'll see this all throughout the scriptures, all the way down to Sodom and Gomorrah, et cetera, et cetera. Whether you know what I'm saying, believe that this is a metaphoric, allegorical, you know, mythological tale describing something, you know what I'm saying, or you believe that it's an actual historic event. But in that, there was always two witnesses that were sent, two hands of God that was sent. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, it wasn't about us doing anything. And every time that Israel was in a captivity, in a expulsion, whenever siege was beset upon the land, and the people had to flee and protect the, you know what I'm saying, and the temples were destroyed. You know what I'm saying? God would always send his two ensigns, his two hands, his two witnesses. Even in Sodom and Gomorrah, there was always two angels. But this is before judgment. And the reason why I say this is because within the scriptures, it says that there's always two witnesses. There has to be two witnesses before any form of judgment. So we're talking about the fall of an empire, which was already prophesied. We brought that up with Revelations chapter 17. I believe the other brother brought up Revelations chapter 11. Very interesting prophetic interpretations, how you view this, you know, how anyone sees them, and God gives an interpretation is solely, up to the Most High, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So I don't, you know what I'm saying, propagate to have all the answers for everyone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not here to force my doctrine or how I see. You know? But before that happens, you know what I'm saying, you have to have these two witnesses. And these are two ensigns according to Isaiah chapter 11, verse 10 to 12. And one represents Christ, who came to be a sacrifice on the cross, you know what I'm saying, for salvation. And then the second, there is to be a king who is to receive a comforter who is to come. The second ensign, the second hand of God. It wasn't always about one Messiah, according to old Judaic tradition. So in around the time of Christ, there were actually three factions of Jews that believed either there was no Messiah necessary. The other one believed that there was one Messiah that was to come, the one, you know what I'm saying, like on some Neo type situation, not Neo love, you know what I'm saying, by the way. That was shade. But so you know what I'm saying? And then there was another faction that believed that there were more than one Messiah. And you know what I'm saying? And one of the scriptures that were very important.
Probably the one I would follow.
Right, that there was more than one Messiah. And when we see that the interpretation of the word Messiah is MSH, because there was no, you know what I'm saying, vowels, you know what I'm saying? They had kind of like punctuations to express vowel sounds. So they do that now more in modern Hebrew or whatever you call it. But that word, where it gets Messiah, is Masut, or it means anointed. So a person could be a priest, anointed, you know what I'm saying, by, you know what I'm saying, to be a priest, like Aaron was anointed to be a priest. And there was that whole Levitical bloodline that was anointed from the line of Aaron. And then Melchizedek, the line of Melchizedek, king and priest, those who were anointed to be kings and priests. We had a culture within the Nile Valley traditions of those who were considered anointed, and so they therefore became vessels of God or divine force, whether it be, you know what I'm saying, the God of Israel or someone else's God. But that was a tradition that was often practiced.
Right.
So within the Judaic culture, you know what I'm saying, anyone who was anointed to be a priest, a high priest, or a king, or prophet, you know what I'm saying, was technically considered Masu, which is the root word for Messiah.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Powerful.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when we say like a Rastafari, we believe that His Imperial Majesty was anointed and he was the king according to the line of David and Solomon, and it had to be through a specific line according to scripture. So
Right.
all these things had to be fulfilled, because otherwise God's word would turn up void. And God's word cannot turn up void, otherwise it makes God irrelevant, right? Makes it not real.
Right.
Unless it comes to pass. And so we only see these two things happen in two advents, right? Christ, and then in the king, the last king of the last oldest Orthodox Ethiopian empire, Judaic bloodlines, etc., etc.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then that established the fall of League of Nations, and the building of the United Nations, which then established Israel in 1948.
Right.
I'm bringing it back full circle.
Okay.
So with that whole entire fulfillment, you know what I'm saying? You see, and now judgment must come. Now we're seeing a fall and decline of an empire. We're seeing the wars and the rumors of wars, as was spoken of in the scriptures, and we're seeing the river. What was it in the scripture that was prophesied? The river that dried up. Somebody in the chat, tell me what river dried up, y'all. What river's drying up according to scripture? Was it the Euphrates? Wasn't it the Euphrates, y'all? Let me look that up.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
And it's happening. River's drying up. Euphrates River. So, and this was prophesied in the scriptures. Jordan River finally dried up, and now something is going to terribly wrong. What does this say? Archaeologist.org. It says here, once the flowing river, the symbol of hope and renewal for thousands of years, has dried up completely. And believe it or not, this is not a good thing at all. The Jordan River, which stretches from Syria to Israel and beyond, has finally stopped flowing after centuries of being an essential water source for millions of people. But as we will discover in this video, something as terrible is happening now that the river is gone. Get ready for a shocking insight. This looks like it's an advertisement. But we see, where is the scripture? I want to see the prophecy. That's what I want.
Interesting.
I mean, you know, all interpretation is left up to the spirit. You know what I mean? So,
fair enough. I agree with that.
Yeah.
So.
Oh shoot! This says get excited. Christianity Magazine. Euphrates River is drying up. But don't say, don't get too excited. Don't get too excited.
It's happening. It's happening now. Yes.
It's the last days, baby.
Yeah. See this. I don't know. There's a problem here. Okay. I feel like there's a problem here.
Yeah, there is a problem.
You know what I mean? We're not supposed to be jumping up and down and so.
I agree. You know
what I mean?
We do this now.
Yeah.
Now, yes, it is a sign of the times, but it says these things will be terrible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And they are terrible.
You are out here ready to pop a bottle, yo. You know what I'm saying? Get your Henny at, bro.
Right. Yeah. So well, I think I know what your answer is, but I was gonna ask you, like, is it good that, you know, there are all these people who have power who are trying to make it happen?
Yeah, that's the crazy part. That's the crazy part.
There are all these people who have power, and they're trying power in our country, in America.
Yep. Yeah, they started bringing red
You know?
heifers up to the temple and getting in peace with Muslims up there. And what did I say? Remember I told you what yo, hold on, this was funny. I said, yeah, they need to just make a deal, right? And just, you know what I'm saying, say, listen, we won't take any more of y'all Palestinian land. Just give us the temple.
Yeah.
Just give us the temple.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Let us rebuild the temple. You know what I'm saying? It was supposed to, y'all took over and y'all put y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all booty on
And
top
like I
of
said,
it, y'all titty on top of it.
It's
Y'all
not
big old titty.
It's not
Put a fat titty on top of our temple.
What titty? What are you talking about?
You don't know what's the temple of the rock?
No.
The temple of the no, you need to look this up.
Let me see.
It's a huge titty. You gotta remember that the architectural structures that you see in Islamic temples came from Hinduism.
Uh-huh.
It's a titty.
That's funny.
It's a fucking titty, B. Sitting right there on our temple, B. Yo, listen, I'll stop. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to fight no more if y'all just gave us back our freaking land right there, man. The temple has to be rebuilt, and that's what needs to happen.
And the rock is in there, right?
That's there, and they go in there and they pray in there because Islam had took over, even to the point where Ethiopia, that used to travel up and down, back and forth to Israel for years, trading and stuff. They have the history. They have all the
See, I don't.
you know
Again,
archaeological evidence that they were going back and forth, but it stopped when the Ottoman Empire and all of them cats started taking over and then going into North Africa. It cut off Ethiopia from being able to travel to Israel. And so that's why they made a new Jerusalem there,
right,
their own Jerusalem there, because they could no longer go back to the land.
they couldn't go back.
They couldn't cut through the Muslims. They were going to get slapped with swords and Qurans.
Yeah.
So they stayed in their land and they built big, huge freaking fortresses.
Right.
Fortresses.
So is that
to keep out Islam?
Is that the New Jerusalem then?
That is New Jerusalem.
Okay.
That is New Jerusalem. That's what it's called. Lalibela is New Jerusalem.
So
And that's at the tip of Ethiopia in the geographic region where you would see the end of Kush, Garfield Reed. Garfield Reed.
And
Bump.
we're in agreement that this that there is a New Jerusalem in Ethiopia. Okay.
There is a New Jerusalem in Ethiopia. Yeah. And that's where Ethiopianism comes from. That is Zionism of the 1920s. The early Black Jews, the commandment keepers, the Ethiopian Hebrews, you know what I'm saying, the Rastafarian movement, all of them became a part of the Ethiopian World Federation. Many churches as well. You had the Abyssinian Baptists. Why did they call themselves Abyssinian? Because they were taking hold of what was called Ethiopianism, and that was to no longer call ourselves Negro, Black, or, you know what I'm saying, even more, because those were the derogatory terms. We would call ourselves Ethiopians. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a broad term. You've seen even with Enoch, the book of Enoch, found in Ethiopia before they freaking realized it was in a cave in Qumran since the 2nd century, you know what I'm saying, was found in Ethiopia first.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they thought it was apocryphal, and then they found it with the rest of the scroll.
Well, not everybody thought it was apocryphal.
I know. Well, who for instance? Who for instance?
The Eastern Church didn't find it apocryphal.
But some of these groups do subscribe to what they call extra biblical sources, and I don't think that's the problem with studying extra biblical sources. It's only when you start taking things, you know what I'm saying, as direct, you know what I'm saying, because I've seen some doctrines that I believe came directly out of the Mormons, man. Like some of these cats with the Native American, you know what I'm saying, being Jews and stuff. That's Mormons, B.
That's Mormon shit.
That's coming out of the Book of Moroni, man. Yeah. Book of Phony Moroni, man.
Phony Moroni.
Y'all just threw that into y'all doctrine. I ain't gonna name no names.
Who?
I ain't gonna name no names.
What?
Y'all chart. Phony Moroni chart.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they let the
Oh yeah, they flipped the script, man.
wow.
They took their whole doctrine and turned it around.
Aztecs and everything.
Huh? Oh man, if they wear fringes,
The Aztecs
if they wear fringes and make sacrifices and build pyramids.
Even, oh,
some cats are out here talking. Oh, I done opened up a can of worms. I done opened up a can of worms.
This is wild.
There's abos, man. The abos. You don't know about the abos?
No.
You don't know about the abos? Oh yeah, the abos, man. There's some abos in the comment section that don't take nothing personal unless you want to get on stage.
I don't know the community that well.
Okay,
that's the thing.
So you got some abos who are staying at Israel and Egypt and Babylon and Ethiopia.
South America.
No, they're in the Americas.
Okay.
The original.
They're in Idaho.
Yeah, Idaho is like they got. You know what I'm saying? The Mississippi River is actually. You know what I'm saying?
We all gonna move to Idaho.
Yo, I don't know, bro. You know, I ain't trying to pop those guys. Yeah, I am. Pop a shot.
We're all gonna move to Idaho.
He said, I think there's one dude in Mississippi.
The Mormons.
Tyrone, where you at, Tyrone?
The Mormons, they told me. The Mormons told me that I was, what is it, a child
of whom? Of Nisi or whatever?
Not Abraham.
Oh, yeah. Of Ham?
Of Ham, yes. That's it.
You should have said thank you. You should have said thank you, because Israel married with Ham all through the good long day. They love them some black women. You know what I'm saying? Go through the scriptures.
Yeah, don't they believe in Bigfoot? That Bigfoot is
man, I don't know what them niggas believe. I can't even call it, man. Mormons are weird.
There's a comic book that goes through all the craziest Mormon beliefs.
Did you see the last court case that was on about the Mormons? The Mormons in I forget where they were at or whatever, but there was some strict Mormons. This guy, he freaking became like a cult leader. The Daybell case. Y'all look this up. Look up Tammy Daybell, and I forget her husband's name, but they killed their children, man. They said they turned into zombies and shit, and that, you know what I'm saying, they were going to heaven, and Jesus came down to talk to her and all of this stuff, and they, you know what I'm saying, they snapped, yo.
Yeah.
They totally snapped, killed a little girl, killed a little boy, buried them in the pet cemetery, and went to fucking Hawaii and got married. After her husband mysteriously died, and his wife mysteriously died within a matter of a week or so. The children disappeared, and they're in Hawaii, motherfucking goddamn doing the hula and shit, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What's that shit with the bar, the little stick and shit?
Doing the limbo.
Doing the limbo, bro. Man.
Yeah.
Man. Sometimes you gotta be careful how deep, you know what I'm saying? Because I can see some of these folks out here are getting a little too, caught up into some really, really, really sick doctrines, man.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I mean,
John that's
Smith.
a part of the decline. That's a part of the decline.
John Smith found the tablets.
The Bible said that there would be many false, you know what I'm saying, prophets and many false messiahs.
John Smith, he found the tablets.
John Smith from the Mormons, golden tablets written in some archaic Egyptian language that nobody knoweth. Nobody's seen those golden tablets.
He found the tablets, man.
You know he was arrested multiple times for
it was crazy.
He was a con man.
He was wild.
He was a con man. He's a confessed freaking con artist.
Right.
And then he turns around and makes a religion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't even till like what, the 80s? It was like the late 80s they decided that black people could go to heaven. We weren't allowed in heaven.
They weren't allowed in heaven.
We were the children of
Ham. The dark-skinned races that were cursed.
We could only go to purgatory.
Your skin was brown.
We could only go to purgatory.
It was a symbol of the curse of Ham upon you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Purgatory. That's it. You can't go to heaven. until
Where
1980.
did they get that from? They just changed the whole book.
And they added a bunch of shit. There's a planet or some shit. When you go to heaven,
Same thing with the Jehovah's Witness.
you go to heaven, you get your own planet.
Same thing with the Jehovah's Witness, man. You know, you're not even allowed to read the Bible unless you're with somebody who's got to teach you, or you have to use their books as resources to study scripture. You cannot study the scripture on your own.
It's control, man. It's control.
You cannot read and interpret the scripture on your own. It has to be interpreted for you through their watchtowers and through their writings.
Indigenous Black Man says, "Is this the great falling away that the Bible speaks of in action?"
And what?
In action.
Give me the scripture.
So is it
in action. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's happening. Yeah, Indigenous Black Man, it's happening.
And see, this is why it's interesting.
It's happening,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
I like the,
it's happening.
I like that there's a kind of return to the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, because we live in this is the Protestant nation,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the Protestantism is a part of the falling away,
right?
In my view,
right. Well, that's what it says, the mother of harlots, right? And I would say that would go even back further to the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
Because the Catholic Church, how they parted away from, saying how Christianity was originally viewed by even the disciples themselves. They didn't call it Christianity in itself. So I could even say that, we could kind of a little bit remove ourselves from the term and how maybe because Ethiopian Orthodox, they don't use that term. They go back to the crest and the crestena, use the ancient, words and their root words.
Right.
Christ or Christian, I don't know of any place in the Bible where that term is.
And see, we should be focused on the early church. You know what I mean? And focused on, because these people, they wrote everything down.
Right.
They wrote all their beliefs down.
Right.
They wrote their own interpretations down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And many of those interpretations were handed down to them.
Right.
From people who were directly in contact with the apostles.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And this is one of the things about Ethiopia being isolated for so long. Ethiopia had remained a feudal, medieval kind of state all the way up until like 1920s, 19, maybe a little earlier, 1918 or something. They started to become a little bit more modernized.
Right.
But they were feudal tribes. You know what I'm saying? Within it, and they pretty much maintained their culture thousands of years later with no outside influence because of the territory and how the land and everything was, the geographic, saying, way that the land is platinous land. If you can't get in certain places without a plane. And this is where a lot of the religious groups would form churches.
Also, they didn't lose any wars.
They didn't lose no wars. They didn't get colonized. They're the only place that didn't get. If you want to talk about some place that God protected Ethiopia,
yeah,
y'all.
They didn't lose no wars.
They didn't lose no wars, bro. 4 years, freaking Italy had invaded, but then they were freaking removed. That was the last war. That opened up this whole can of worms. That is to bring forth judgment, y'all.
Mussolini's Italy.
Right, Mussolini. Right.
Yeah.
Now, you said something about Mussolini influencing somebody or something.
So he invented fascism.
Okay.
Right.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
He invented fascism.
Yeah.
Describe fascism for the people.
Okay. So, I mean, my description of fascism would probably clash with a lot of,
That's okay.
New York Times.
Yeah.
Folks.
Yeah.
So I would say that it's the unification of the entire nation.
Right.
The unification of the fash. A fash is a bundle of sticks that have been tied together.
Okay.
Right. And so when you see, like when they show Hitler doing not Hitler, but the Nazis doing the goose step, what they're doing is showing that the entire state is unified. right?
Right.
They're all going in the same direction in a unified in their
Right.
goose step thing that they the stupid shit they do. But what? Yeah. So Mussolini basically said that he wanted to unify everything. So they call it a national socialism, right?
Okay.
And so this is nationalism mixed with socialism, right? And so the labor and the wealthy, all these people are unified together. They're doing the exact same thing. You know what I mean? They're all working together. And what that means is that's totalitarianism,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's a totality of the state.
Right.
Anyone who goes against it basically gets killed, wiped out. You know what I mean?
Sounds rabbinical.
So
Thank God for Jesus. I'm joking, y'all. I'm joking, y'all.
So well, yeah. DEFCON 2. That's wild. Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good that we're at DEFCON 2. I mean I don't know if that's true, but wouldn't surprise me. What were we talking about? Oh, Mussolini. Yeah. You told me they killed him after
They smushed him, yo. They smushed him terribly.
Now
they drug his body.
Now
the
next question the next question that I have about that is, yo, I spent, I don't know, 3 years learning about World War II. I know.
Wow.
No.
They
I didn't hear anything about Ethiopia.
Because
whatsoever. I didn't know Ethiopia was involved.
After the war, he had lost the war and basically lost, to some barefoot Africans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because propaganda day. And then what real shame, they even placed up the Pope who was on the chair at the time, who had also commissioned the war against Ethiopia. And so there was this new person who.
And what side was the Catholic Church on?
Catholic Church was the ones who commissioned Mussolini and the generals to go in there.
Okay.
They gave them good grace. They blessed them.
So on the axis of evil.
Before World War II even started.
Before the war started. Okay.
This was the beginning, the precursor of World War II. This is the spark that started. And the thing is when he attacked Ethiopia in the whole nine, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie went to Geneva Conference. They told them that if they, because the League of Nations had not fulfilled the Horay Treaty, that the same fate that befell his people would also befall them.
Right.
And not within a matter of a year or so. Here comes Hitler.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Smacking up Europe. You know what I'm saying? But when His Imperial Majesty, regained control of Ethiopia, and most of the Italian troops were pushed out of Ethiopia, many of them did not want to return back to Italy, and His Imperial Majesty gave them grace to find other places to, to live. They gave them time to flee out of Ethiopia with good grace. You know what I'm saying? We'll let anybody cause them any harm or anything like that, and let them go on their way. But they didn't want to go back to.
Yeah, right. Because they would get destroyed.
They were going to get what Mussolini got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he got decimated.
Right.
In dirt.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, Haile Selassie, talking about Haile Selassie was buried underneath the toilet. You know what I'm saying? When they found out the bones didn't actually fit the body, the Imperial Majesty was short, and those bones were far too tall.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Trying to do some fake bones and shit. So on. And this was years after, nobody knew anything about when and where he died.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
Yeah.
That's
so
wild.
So it's interesting, how all of these events actually lead up to the present state of affairs.
So what you're saying is that we don't have access to his corpse was never found. Is that what you're saying?
They have a grave for him, but there's no corpse there.
There's no corpse.
Yeah, the family said that they measured had somebody measure the bones, and the bones were not, they were too tall.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. Nobody.
Very interesting.
Nobody knows where his remains truly are. The Rastafari, we have our, saying understanding still. You see me?
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to Revelations chapter 11, the two witnesses. Right? They said, well, they had to be dragged in the streets of Jerusalem. Well, there's two Jerusalems, nigga. There's the old Jerusalem where Christ was crucified. Right. That's said right in there in Revelation. And then there's the new Jerusalem where His Imperial Majesty. Wow. In the land of Sodom where our Savior died. Revelation chapter 11, y'all. Fix your face.
It's all there, huh?
It's all there, For those who have eyes to see. Y'all know that the link is in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Sean Tompkins, Molech. You keep on calling me Molech, but you're bearing false witness and you are being an adversary. And so therefore we know what the word adversary means in Hebrew, right? It means Satan. I refute. So let me just receive that the word negus means king, but the word negus is directly correlated and synonymous with the Hebrew word nagid. Nagid is a king, but it's a specific type of king, not a king who rules in a manner where he, forces his will over others, but a king who actually leads by going against the adversary, a king who leads by example. All right, so look up that word nagid.
Okay, so let's see.
Shabbat shalom, Tyrone. That was a whole bar. Yeah, wrong.
Yeah. So Dre Day asks, what do y'all think about the mark of the beast?
So you asking me or you asking them?
He just asked y'all.
Oh, what do I think about the mark of the beast?
Yeah, what are y'all thoughts?
Okay.
Mark of the beast.
And who said that? Who asked that?
Dre Day.
Okay, Dre Day. The mark of the beast, I don't think is a chip. I don't think it's a number that is literally placed upon your flesh. I believe that this is a metaphor of the mark of the beast. Number one, if you're dealing with gematria. Gematria is the use of letter. I know you probably know this, but for anyone who is in the audience who does not know what gematria is when Hebrew letters, Afro-Semitic letters in Afro-Semitic languages, all of their letters have number equivalents and value, right? So, saying Yod has its equivalents, saying Hey has its equivalents, etc., 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 right? And so when you talk about the mark of the beast, it's actually spelling out a name. It says the number of a man, right? The number of and they said something about his name. So when you're talking about this, is talking about the image of the beast, the mark of the beast. This is the image of the Gentile. When you talk about beast in the scripture, it's connected to the word goyim, right? So when they say nations, they're not just talking about any nation. They're talking about specifically the nations who are considered lawless. They're considered beast-like, and so those are where they say the goyim, the Gentile. The mark of the beast and the number of his name is the number of his name. That's gematria. And so you would have to do your own research what 666, means in the math and the numbers, and and do that research on your own. You know what I'm saying?
Ready?
Yeah.
So in Greek.
In the Greek, go ahead, look it up in the Greek.
No. Look.
What?
W is a 6.
Oh yeah. In the Greek it is 3 6. Right. So the number of the names, it could be in different symbols.
What's that right there?
I don't necessarily think that it has anything to do with that either, because it says that it shall be in there. Well, it is. Well, it's in your
It's a
right
little
hand. It's
weird.
in your right hand, and
It's
it's
a little weird.
in your forehead. It's in your right hand, and it's in your forehead. You got the mouse, and you're sitting over here.
www. It's a little weird. That's all. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
I'm not the interpreter of
The World Wide Web.
these kinds of things. I don't.
Yeah.
You know.
From my position, though, my perspective, it's a name, and it's specific to a false image of Christ. It's the false. It's Jesus.
Right.
I'm just saying, right? Is that there's Yeshua, and then there's Jesus. Jesus is the one that they created. You know what I'm saying? Painted the Florentine paintings of. You know what I'm saying? But Yeshua is the historic person. You know what I'm saying? Who was transmutated into a Hellenized, Romanized version. So it says the image of the beast shall also be caused to will be given power, right? To also walk and talk. And this is where we see the Florentine image now go into movies, motion picture. Now you got people looking and dressing the part and walking and talking in the films. But there's still the image of the Florentine and the you know what I'm saying, those Eurocentric images of Christ, like with the Passion of Christ. We saw how powerful that movie was. That was crazy, man. Churches were freaking renting out theaters, and they just wanted to see that white Jesus.
Did you hear about how many people died? Did you hear about how many people died on set?
No, they had some blood sacrifices in that
Lightning
bitch.
bolts.
Stop.
Yes. Lightning bolts, bro.
No.
Yeah.
See, judgment, B. Judgment. Judgment, B. I did not hear that. I did not even know that.
I think it's 3. I think it's 3
That,
people
like,
died.
if that's not enough sign to stop, I don't know what to tell you, B.
Yeah. But look, you know, what's his name that directed it? He's one of the craziest motherfuckers.
Yeah, freaking dude from freaking Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
Too old for this shit.
Yeah, lightning now. Let me see if I can pull up.
That is crazy, B. That's madness.
What was the name of the movie? The Passion of the
Chat. Yeah. Translation meaning Lord is Lord. Okay. Okay, Sean. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that.
What's that?
Meaning Lord, fatherhood. Okay. I don't agree with that. I don't use that word. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to condemn anybody who does. You know what I'm saying? We use the name Jesus. It's not really my place to sit here in judgment. I believe judgment is already coming upon you. You know? We just got to try to do things the best way we can. Hopefully with the knowledge and understanding given to us by the Holy Spirit and not by a whole bunch of, you know what I'm saying, crazy spirits. I agree with you, Sean. It is not his name.
What's that?
It's not a name. He said it's not a name.
What's that?
Jesus. It is in the present context. Maybe not in the past. I don't know what you mean. So you can expound a little bit. You can expound, bro. The link is in the chat. I hate it when people ask me questions when you make an assertion, my nigga. You know, you in the chat. If you want to ask questions, come on stage. You know what I'm saying? Or send a donation. Send a donation to Queen Karima for Lions Den, you know what I'm saying? And I'll answer your question to the best of my ability. While you in the yeah. Tyrone is a self-proclaimed Messiah. But yeah, so I think it's real interesting. No, I didn't know somebody died in it. Read that for me, man.
Yeah. A couple of people died.
A lot of paragraph, man. It's just crazy. What's the title of this? What's the title of it?
Passion of the Christ, a cursed film. I remember
No,
somebody.
Sean asked him, he said, what person has a name ending with the letter S? Zeus, nigga. Zeus. The US is in the Chi Psi Sigma, right? Chi Psi Sigma. Psi Sigma. Sigma
Okay.
is the Us. And you see that in Cronus' name, those are Greek. That's a Greek name, bro. Anything that has the US, it's like when you put the Yah in a Hebrew name, when you put the Ra in a Kemetic name, when you put the Al in a Islamic name, right? You put the Al, right? So it's no different putting the phonetic of Cronus in the children of Cronus. Perseus, Zeus, Cronus, US is a phonetic for the children of Cronus.
All right, here we go. Both Caviezel and Michelini, Jan Michelini, were struck by lightning during the filming of the scene of the Sermon of the Mount.
Two women?
No, the Caviezel is the guy who played Jesus.
The white guy?
So the main character, the white guy who played Jesus, got struck by lightning.
And who else?
Jan Michelini.
Oh, so him and the woman,
Yeah,
got struck by one bolt?
Yeah.
All together?
Yeah.
Kind of like Aaron did to the Midianite woman and the Israelite man. Is that what just happened? Yeah, is that what just happened, y'all? That was the rod of Aaron, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Man, Sean, go ahead, man. Whatever, man. If you want to build, man, get on stage. I'm not gonna sit here and keep getting derailed. This is not what the conversation is about.
Although this was the second time the woman was struck.
Okay.
She had been struck before. What the fuck?
Oh my God.
What the fuck?
She's been struck before?
Yeah.
The wine of her fornications,
What
man.
the fuck? This scary shit.
So
man.
was that the only person who died on the set?
Nobody
Oh,
died.
nobody died.
Nobody died, but they both got struck
They
by
both
lightning.
got zapped.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, there are people who died. Somebody had a heart attack, which is like not a big deal. Yeah, struck by lightning. That's fucking wild. That's really wild.
That is wild. So yeah, man. I definitely see a lot of prophetic, revelation. I'm not going to celebrate, saying the war or the destruction of another people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not, the innocent children, women, people who are not, who are just living their days.
It's bad, man. It's so fucked up.
Yeah, I don't condone none of that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. Even from a prophetic standpoint, it is not for us to, to sit here and gloat or,
Yeah. We should be mourning. We should be mourning for these people.
It's a great day. It's a great tribulation. You know what I'm saying? And say this would be a freaking, it's a great and terrible day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And God is doing what He has to do, and sometimes that's not going to be comfortable. It shouldn't be. You know what I mean?
It's very sad.
Yeah, man.
Very sad.
I've seen some of the kids that got hurt, innocent children. But yeah, man, things are going downward. You know what I mean? Most High has called us to His glorious kingdom. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean?
Do you want to talk more about the decline of the American empire?
Indeed. You know what I mean?
The United States.
You have any other thought?
Falling apart.
I mean, socially, you got the, like right now, the culture is crazy. I don't even want to get into that.
How do you
really
feel?
is toxic.
How do you feel? What's toxic about it?
What's toxic about the present culture? Right, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody is on some toxic shit. It's, everybody's on some, over sexualized, everybody's over freaking fighting against each other. Everything is trying to destroy, you know what I'm saying, the next person, take from the next person. Is, you know what I'm saying?
It's the
and
opposite.
It's hustling and it's grinding. And
it's the opposite of the Christmas spirit.
Right. Remember that dude, did you listen to the guy this morning who I was listening to? Where he said something about the two cultures.
Oh, I watched the whole video.
You did watch the whole video?
Yeah.
He talked about the two cultures, where you say he had like a good culture or a healthy culture or whatever like that, or in biology if they have some cells or whatever that single cell organisms growing inside of it, you know what I'm saying, like a petri dish.
Right.
That you had a good culture, but then you had a bad culture that things would begin to die and you know what I'm saying, and degrade and you know what I'm saying, and so that and it's the same thing that we're going through here in our culture here in America because of how money and stuff and comforts are placed above.
It's just I don't even think it's the money. It's just to turn away from religion. It's just to turn away.
You believe that it's to turn away from religion?
I think that when people turn away from what was it? There's a quote from Augustine, which I don't really care for him, but where he says, if you don't believe in God, then you'll fall for everything else. For all other temptations, I believe that's what he said. And I really think that that's true. I think that
that's interesting.
There's another quote from an author that I like, and he says that everybody worships
something, right?
That's it. Everybody worships. It's not a choice, right? You don't get to say, no, I'm not gonna be religious.
Be religious about something.
Your brain has an organ in it that does the religious shit. You don't. It's the same as like sex. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can repress those urges.
Right.
But they're gonna manifest somewhere.
Somewhere. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You can suppress the religious urges, but they will manifest.
Wow.
In your life. Somehow.
I've never heard that.
Somewhere.
But I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Because I've had many debates with even from a atheistic standpoint, I always stated that that religion is a cognitive function of the brain. It's just how you know what I'm saying you place things.
I mean, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. I could go further. But
okay. Go further, man. Go further. No, let's go, man. No, we on the road now. We on the road now. I need to know.
So I would make. And this is why I told you to watch John Vervaeke.
Okay.
Because his argument is that it's the way that information works. That information as such is the problem. We can't do a okay. So or maybe I should say rationality. Rationality is the problem, right? So rationality is limited. You know what I mean? And many of the sort of secular humanist type people try to make it seem like rationality has no limits, that the entire universe is knowable.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And but that's just a declaration. There's no evidence for it.
Right.
But I think that the reality is that in order to be rational, you have to accept that there are certain limitations.
Right. So it's how our brain, what our brains can understand.
Not just our brains, but rationalizing information, because most of the universe is unknowable. It can't be interpreted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And our brains are designed to well, they're designed to focus on what's relevant. Okay. And John Vervaeke talks about relevance realization. So we focus on what's relevant to us.
Right.
But that's like 1% of the actual information that's coming into our brains.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And so what's relevant to us is, our daily lives, whatever, blah blah blah.
Right.
But we're not actually processing all of the information. You're sitting in a room. You're not processing all the information that's in the room.
Right.
You're only processing the information that's relevant to you.
Right.
Right at the moment.
Right.
Yeah. So if you try to process a certain amount of information that's like irrelevant, you know what I mean? Then like it's like our brains are, powered by sandwiches. You know what I mean? Like we have little tiny brains. You know what I mean? And
I think our brains are big, but
right, they're big relative to other animals, but that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but there's limitations to what can be known.
Right.
I think the example that he gives is a chessboard, right?
Yeah.
So the amount of possible games of chess that you can play, right? So the amount of combinations that you can have and moves that you can go through in a chess game exceed the amount of atoms that there are in the universe.
How do we know that? Moves on the chessboard?
It's just math. So, the combinations of moves on the chessboard when you go, let's say there's
outnumber the what?
The amount of atoms in the universe.
How do we know how many atoms?
It's based on space. Yeah, we can find out the average amount of atoms exists.
We can't see the end of the universe. How do we know how to measure the mass and what you see? We can't see.
Well, I would assume that it'd probably be the known universe.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So that makes sense.
So the known.
Yeah. Right.
Within
So
the parameters of what we
of the known universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's still a lot.
I got you. Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it in past. Wow.
Right. And so, what he talks about is this thing called combinatorial explosion. And so a combination of things, right? So there's, let's say I have 6 choices to make and I need to make them 10 times. It's a huge amount of choices, right?
Right.
But our brains are
variations of these
right
numbers and different, yeah.
But our brains are optimized to make those kinds of choices.
Right. How or you get your brain cuts.
Well, so when they try to build like artificial intelligence, you know what I mean? This is a major problem that they run into, right? Because if the artificial intelligence tries to play chess, then it can't just like look at all the possible moves on the chessboard.
Right.
It'll fail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have the computational power. You know what I mean? So our minds kind of avoid in order to navigate, our minds have to avoid these huge these basically storm clouds of information.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's also this thing that happens where, like, as a person, when I'm thinking about stuff, I'm like in a certain place. Right. But then when I focus on a higher power, right, I leave that place and now I can see it from a different different perspective, right? You know what I mean? And that process is it's
I like
something.
the way you think, because I think from a very psychological, practical position too when it comes to religion. How do you reconcile some of the your perceptions and my own too? I agree with you in all aspects when it comes to the depths of the universe, the amount of information that we can actually contain, you know what I'm saying, or be able to perceive. And people think that they multitask. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Do one thing and then you do the other.
That's a great example. Yeah.
Your brain has to switch on and off.
Yeah.
And this is why you can't focus when you're having a conversation. Multitask.
Right.
Because the conversation actually requires your focus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's a great example.
So I agree with you. So how do we compromise, or how do we reconcile? Let's put it that way. How do we reconcile, say, old form like the creation story with how we perceive the universe now? Because there are those who and I believe that they would still lean. Flat earthers, you're leaning to your own understanding. I'm saying out loud. You're mad. Control me in the chat. We know the earth is not, well, and that the earth is not flat. And then I don't know if you know this, but in the Hebrew there's two words. There's and there's starts with a G. Is it Gabar? Something. It starts with a G. It's the Kahul, and I think it's Gabar. And both of these words might be wrong about that last pronunciation. Something like that. But both of these words denote a sphere. Nowhere in the Hebrew to describe a flat presumption because of the description of the four pillars, you know what I'm saying, the foundation of the earth should not be moved. You know what I'm saying, there's like up and down type situation going on that we know doesn't exist in the vacuum of space.
What I'll say is that the problem that we have with interpreting stories today is that back in the day they didn't interpret stories that way. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is just a bunch of folks in a village,
right,
and they're hearing a story
right,
being told to them. You know what I mean? One of many, many, many stories being told to them.
right.
And this is not, I'm not trying to minimize, right? These are
the importance of the stories.
Super important stories. These are super, super important stories. These are central to the existence of most of humanity, in my opinion. Okay. But that being said, there was no science. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was no presumption that somebody would sit around and scrutinize every little the rationality of every single little detail of any particular story. It's like a non sequitur that we tend to inject our scientific understanding.
Poetics.
That these, like, these are people who and maybe it'll sound bad, but I believe in fairy tales.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I say that, I mean, like, fairy tales are good, and they are central to our understanding of the world. I mean, it's difficult to explain.
Let me say that
it's difficult to explain.
Can I try to describe it like with art? Okay. There are those people who just want to see realism.
No, these are illustrations.
But then, right.
This is what I'm saying.
It's still not the actual image. It's still how we perceive things. So even a person who tries to be absolutely objective and scientific and says that, you know what I'm saying, there's still the problem of how they perceive things and put things together, connect dots, which is still painting. It's still a drawing.
It's still an illustration. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not the real thing.
Right. Right. That's exactly right.
They just want to say, well, I'm just more precise in everything that I do with realism.
Now,
because I don't get involved in modernism and I don't get involved in Renaissance, you know what I'm saying,
now,
art.
Who's more rational here? You know what I mean?
Who?
The person who believes in fairy tales and understands that this is an illustration that's like, you know, it's a rough
right
understanding.
Sketch. Right.
You know what I mean? Or the guy who is like, this has to be exact. It has to be correct.
It has to be measured.
It has to be measured and perfect. We can define God.
That's crazy. That is the Tower of Babel, y'all.
Now
you're trying to reach the heavens.
Now
with your engineering and your construction, and you'll get knocked down every fucking time.
Right. Exactly right.
You get your fucking goddamn tower
exactly
will be knocked down every. Y'all talk about a dome. The dome is not in space. The dome is your brain, nigga. The dome is your fucking cranium. That's the dome. That's the glass dome, you flat fucking head nigga. The dome is the freaking confines of your limited intellectual capacities. Okay? And all of us have it. It's called a fucking bell curve. The curve of your freaking noggin.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I mean, in my opinion, here's basically what I've learned from Orthodox understanding, right? Is that there was an early church, and the early church understood that there was a mystery.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
You know what I mean?
Mystery.
The
right.
mystery.
It's the mystery school.
That God is unknowable.
Right.
I think it goes out of the way.
The scripture says that no man can know all in the mysteries of God.
We can't know him. Right? And then the Catholic Church comes along, right?
Right.
And they have this thing called scholasticism.
Okay.
Where they're literally just trying to define God and you know what I mean?
Right.
And that tradition continues on, you know, even though the Catholic Church becomes corrupt.
Right.
And you know, we have the Reformation. Those who are involved in the Reformation, that's all they know is what the Catholics have taught them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so they continue on this perfection of God, this perfection of our understanding. You know what I mean? And one of the things that happens, so like God is like in this certain place, and all the gods are in a similar area, where the term supernatural, right? Now today we kind of use it as otherworldly, right? But originally it literally meant supernatural, right? So Jesus takes the fish, he makes a whole bunch of other fish.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if he made a whole bunch of other fish. It says that he fed them from the freaking the two fish. There's nowhere that said that he multiplied. He multiplied the meat of the two fish.
Okay.
It was just them two fish.
All right.
That
The multitude.
So we haven't exited the world.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
We haven't ascended to some other
Right.
place.
He didn't magically freaking make 1,000 fish out of 2.
Right.
He did not do that.
It's extra natural.
That's crazy.
Right.
Right.
So there's this the interpretation of God shifts.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so in my view, you know, we have this like we have the scientific revolution,
Mhm.
right? And science becomes the main thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the objective world becomes super important, right? Because
Right.
we're learning all sorts of things and building all sorts of stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so then the church has to move God above
Science.
the science because the
And
science
that's
is doing so well.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The science is doing great. And so, like, the church has to stay above that. You know what I mean? And in that movement, they're moving away from God. They're moving away from
The church is moving.
the church. This is, see, this is the thing. It's the church, right, that moves to a position, right, where things stop making sense and Christianity starts to break down, you know, and then Nietzsche can claim that God is dead.
And people are
And he's-
freaking
and-
doing freaking they're you know doing like praise dance to rap songs. Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Twerking to Jesus. Yeah.
But yeah, so moving away, this whole the whole position of like Martin Luther, he was a crazy dude, but the whole moving away where each of us is
Protestantism to Pentecostalism or
well,
what do we call it? Not is it revival or no? First it was like Protestantism, and then I think the Puritanism, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's
Puritans,
pretty.
those are the ones that came to America. And there was different groups of Puritans.
Yeah, there are different types of Puritans.
Right.
There was also the Quakers. Yeah.
Even weren't they a part of the Puritan movement still?
No.
Quakers, Shakers, and the
Quakers are a little bit different.
And the what's called, you know, they was killing each other, right?
Yeah.
They was poisoning each other's wells and shit.
Yeah.
They was exactly.
Now look at this.
Righteous indignation.
Look at this. Now look at this. When you look at the Puritans, right, and the people, because
Puritans, the Quakers, the Shakers.
Because during this time is when we started building the universities, and the universities were they usually started out with a what do they call the school, what's the Bible school
for what?
In universities.
Theological studies.
Right. So the theological studies, that was all there was.
Okay.
In the early university was just theology.
Right.
Right.
Wait, in the early universities?
Yes.
Was what time? What time period?
This is like 1700, maybe late 1700s.
So everything went back to God at the end of the day.
Every university has every major university has a divinity school at the center of it.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah, the Jesuit schools and all of that.
Right. Yeah. So the purpose of university during that time was to understand and know God and you know, this kind of stuff. So to go to divinity school
sounds very Masonic to me.
But the interesting thing to me anyway is that the you know, every school of philosophy, so when you become a philosopher It's like, okay, you were trained by so and so and so and so, right?
Right.
And that person was trained by so and so and so and so, right?
Right.
And then that person was trained by a theologian, right?
Right. So at the root of their whole genealogy, their whole was God based.
Right. And so when you trace the genealogies back,
Right, you want to give all of these cats the fuel to use the white man fallacy academic stuff.
when you trace these genealogies back,
Studies going down the tubes now.
The conservative political philosophy
Okay.
falls in line with
Right.
the Puritans,
Right. Right.
and the progressive
Right.
falls in line with the Quakers. Okay, and I mean, when I say it falls in line, I mean like these people are related. You know what I mean? The people who wrote the progressive, yeah, the people who wrote the progressive follows, you know, yeah, philosophy, like, you know what I mean?
Uncle Grandpa.
Yeah, so it's really, really interesting things. And like when you look at like, oh, they're fighting back and forth about culture war and cancel culture and blah 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 and this that and the other. There's articles where, you know, they show that it's the Puritans and the and the Quakers fighting the same shit,
No, they were killing each other.
fighting the same kinds of fucking, you know, it's the same kind of bullshit,
Right.
you know. So, and part of my language, I don't know if
That's
language
cool.
is a problem.
That's a little bit. As long as you don't use too many derogatory terms against other people's, you know, specific genders and letters and such.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's really interesting, and I think it's, you know, the early progressives believed that they were turning the state into um, the church. You know,
Got you.
what do they call it? They call it the social gospel.
Hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of conservatives say that the social gospel became social justice, but yeah, it's a little more complicated than that.
You think so?
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot more complicated than that. But it's still, it's very interesting stuff. There was something called the social gospel, and they wanted to turn the state into God. You know what I mean? And bring heaven on earth kind of thing. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. So, and these are people who were in power. You know, during Woodrow Wilson. You know, when we.
What do you think about like you know cults? You know anything about cults?
I mean, it's interesting, I guess.
Have you ever studied anything about any of the cults? Like
I think I think that people are naturally drawn to occult ideas. So? Yeah, absolutely. I think that I believe that there's a human religious impulse.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I said before, it's not a choice.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You are a religious
person.
Period.
Not
Yep. And that's it.
I felt like that too. I started getting that when I was in my atheist stage. You know
yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I'm getting a little religious about it.
Well, yeah, you know, I was an atheist for like 10 years. Right. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But for me, I started watching the politics and watching the way that people talked and the way that people acted and the way that people told me that I can't say this and I can't say that and I need to say this and I need to say that and I absolutely have to support Israel right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or I have to support you know, what's the other,
Ukraine.
No, Palestine right now. And if you don't, then you're a horrible person. You know what I mean? That we're gonna shun. This is to me, it's the same stuff that, you know, what was happening when I was a kid, and it was, you know, you have to follow exactly this way, or else, you know, bad things are gonna happen. and
Right. We call that storm chasing.
storm chasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So storm chasing is basically when, people, use threats of um of judgment, destruction, and do this happens. Now, there are some basic
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah.
We know that there are laws of nature. Those things we set before we got. And there's just some certain things that just know intrinsically, even from childhood, before, infant comes to something basic. Well, hold on, I know you don't funny.
I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm listening.
um, so, so, um, so with that, like, you're always gonna have, like questions when it comes to all these rules, right?
Yeah.
There are some basic rules that are very simple and not complex.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing that kind of made me relax on Christianity is that I realized, like, oh, all these other groups are doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's something in human nature that's happening, that's causing people.
So Orthodox Christianity.
Oh, so with Orthodox Christianity, um, the first thing for me was that they were not.
You're almost a Rastafarian, just letting you know, right?
I know. I'm aware that it's
You're
similar.
almost a Rastafarian.
I'm aware that it's similar. For me,
pushing the needle, man.
yeah. But the thing for me was that I realized that they weren't hostile to other religions.
Right.
There wasn't a hostility, and there was a kind of understanding of mythology,
Mhm.
you know, and it's that Puritanism that I don't jive with. You know what I mean? It doesn't work for me.
So you're talking the piety and the holiness and all of that.
Yeah. It doesn't work for me.
Start getting too overly arrogant.
Yeah, and then I started like listening to them and like, wait, okay, so they kind of have answers for all of my atheist questions.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Yeah, all my little atheist problems, atheist questions.
There's some good problems.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
There's some good questions.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers.
Yeah, right. And so that was enough for me. I don't know. It's and then this whole narrative of, you know, that we need to like pay attention to what the early church fathers thought.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I think there was definitely, like you said, it was a great breaking away from, those early, how they taught early. With even with like the diopposite and the monopposite branches, though there are both in Ethiopia.
I don't think they can hear you very well.
Okay. So yeah. So there's like like what you say about the great breaking away. And you have like the two branches within even the Ethiopian Orthodox, not the Ethiopian Orthodox, but you have the diopposite and the monopposite churches that are have two different views of the divinity of Christ. And you have both of those even in Ethiopia. You have two different factions. One that's diopposite, which is the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and then there's another group who are there who are monopposite. And those early doctrines, they're far different from what we get now, even especially with the like Pentecostal church. You got a lot of cats right now talking about Jesus is the Father. Jesus is and the Father are literally one person. You have people who believe that Jesus was not born of a virgin birth. There's a difference between immaculate conception and a virgin birth. I will concede to that to some of my brothers who actually will distinguish the difference between the two. But so you have a lot of big questions and big doctrinal problems and the interpretational issues that is becoming even huge. These huge gaps going on.
Yeah. I mean, this doesn't. these things are minor. You know what I mean? In my view,
Okay.
I think that it's probably, in fact, it's probably healthy that people are arguing back and forth and talking back and forth
I
about.
would say so. I think argumentation is healthy. It's like, your neurons in your brain firing back and forth, and you're asking yourself multiple questions before you actually even make a decision on something. You can make a decision within a minute or in less than a minute, but your brain has already considered a whole lot of and argued with itself in a sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So the brain's dialogue is argument, is debate.
Uh-huh. And
Your brain debates.
this whole process is a process of,
Should I do this? Should I do that? Did I do this? Did I do? You know what I'm saying? Why should I do this way, and why should I do? What is a better way to do? You're debating all day in your thoughts.
spending time thinking and caring,
Right.
right? You're caring. Why do you care so much about, the Bible? Why do you care so much about religion?
Right. Like even with atheists, all spending time trying to refute the Bible, but 90% of their time goes to talking about the daggone Bible.
It's all worship. All of it is is worship.
Bruh,
Even
if
the
it's not
denial,
that important to you,
even the denial
if
of
it's
worship.
not real, go on and live your go forth and sin no more, nigga.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't put that shit behind you.
Yeah.
Why would you still want to contemplate? Oh, because my people, nigga.
Yeah.
Lead by example.
Yeah. So indigenous black man thinks that I'm stealing his narrative.
That's okay.
I came to all of this myself.
We're not even looking at the chat, so
So
that's the funny part. We didn't even read what you said.
I think that's interesting. No, that's good.
If you agree with him, then
that's a good thing.
But we're not even really looking at the chat. We're just here and there trying to check in and see
Yeah.
if there's anybody sane in this motherfucker. Jada Great, what's up, man? There's one sane person in here.
But yeah, I think that's good.
I said what I said.
I think it's a good thing that we find different paths. Like, you're Rastafarian and I'm more Orthodox. But there's so much similarity.
Well, because
So much
Haile
similarity.
Selassie is the Ethiopian Orthodox. He's the head of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church.
Right.
The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, elected of God, light of the world. Jah Rastafari live. Rastafari the first. Get him out way, Yahweh. Rastafari.
Yeah.
He's the king.
Yeah.
The Egyptian Orthodox priest Basilius came and blessed him, anointed his head. As the seed of Solomon and the head of the Orthodox Church.
There's a big ass Egyptian church on Long Island.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's big as fuck.
Nice.
Yeah.
I bet you there's a lot of Ethiopian women. Have you ever seen some Ethiopian women? What Ethiopian women are some of the finest women in the world. I promise you.
Yeah.
You want to get yourself some Ethiopian.
Probably a church around here somewhere. Wouldn't be surprised.
Possibly.
Would not be surprised.
Nah, bro, I'm eating right now at the same time I'm talking. My bad. One your blood clot, where I said. You're not even a Rasta, you can't judge me. The judgment upon the land. So yeah. So yeah, man. So judgment has to come. It's coming. It's happening. We see it happening. We see this decline. I believe, and many theological people have described, what they believe the mother of harlots is, the Roman Catholic Church, the British colonies, European colonies that were all under Catholic authority, from Spain to France to to Britain to all of these Portugal, all that brought the slaves and the diaspora here, conquered and colonized lands in Africa and the Americas, and basically even brought Israelites here on ships, And the Israelites scattered abroad, you know what I'm saying? The whole scriptures even prophesied that. There's supposed to be this return, a regathering of the people, the regathering of Israel back to the knowledge of who they are, you know what I'm saying, and back to the land. And I don't believe that that's specifically just the land of Israel. I believe that's, you know what I'm saying, the motherland, the homeland, even those who are Abos, you know what I'm saying, regaining your Aboriginal lands. Me and my cousin right here, our grandmother is Shinnecock Native American Indian. All her family got green cards to go back to the reservation. Your mama got a green card, don't she? She got a reservation.
My grandma does.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? You have it on your mother's side and on your father's side.
Yeah, I've been trying to get my mom to sign up and do it.
She needs to get that, man. They don't care because of Jesus.
Bothers me a lot.
They don't care because of Jesus, man.
Yeah.
You know, grandma didn't care.
Yeah.
I want my card, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that there's a restoration of even. And so this is what the judgment is all about. This is about, you know, restoring, you know what I'm saying, inheritances. You know what I'm saying, the Aboriginal lands back to its people. You know what I'm saying? We've seen so much, so even right now with Israel. Israel's fighting with Palestine. I mean, Palestine is sitting on they temple. You know what I'm saying? On the our temple. Put it that way. They want to claim our temple. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Let's get our temple back so we can slap y'all up and take our temple back. Fuck out of here, man. Y'all do the work and we'll clean up the fucking pieces. Shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I feel about it. I said what I said. How I feel about the war right now.
I don't agree with
that. These are not the words expressed. The words expressed are not the thoughts and opinions of Lions Den Debate League nor Ping DDD. Right? So these are solely my words and my opinion. We need to come up off our damn temple. And then I'll land here in America, man. Come on, man. All this is ours too, man. We run all this shit, man. But anyway, anybody else got anything to say? It is. I got military time sometimes.
Oh, okay. 1?
Yeah.
111. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So yeah, we talked a good deal. You know what I'm saying? We had a lot of trolling in the chat. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? God bless you. God bless your heart. Any final words? Is there anything you want to say?
Is there anything I want to say? No, I think we did a lot.
We did a lot, man. We touched on a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that I mean, really, I hope that there's a kind of return to both orthodoxy and you know,
Judaism, Israelism.
Yeah.
I think that's a real important thing. You know, saying even though I don't agree with a lot of different groups,
yeah.
I think it's very important that this thing is happening. You know, and they might have different doctrines that I don't always agree with, like ICBK or IUIC or whatever. You
maybe
know what
we
I'm saying?
need
But
to like define.
This is a good movement going on.
Maybe we need to define Protestantism.
So
that we know what.
We see a lot of some Israelite groups that are still Protestants.
We know what the problem is. You know what I mean?
Right. Some of these cats are freaking engaging in Mormonism. Word. They threw a little Dr. York and Elijah Muhammad in there too with the spaceships and shit.
Yeah.
It's a real problem.
Yeah, I mean, it's a problem. It's a real problem.
Hey man, Haile Selassie said something about not judging. You know, what I'm saying, who can judge a man's beliefs? No man can judge the mind of God.
Yeah.
You know, and then in the scriptures it says that, you know what I'm saying, many people would have different gifts. There are different gifts of the spirit. And you can have manifold gifts. You can have a couple of gifts, you know what I'm saying? You can have all gifts, but Not everybody's gonna have the same gifts. Some people have gifts of interpretation. People have gifts of healing. Some people have gifts of, you know what I'm saying? All of these different gifts, and not everybody has all the gifts. And still, in the scriptures, it says that, you know what I'm saying, that the body shouldn't be fighting against itself. Why should the right hand, you know what I'm saying, argue with the left hand? You know what I'm saying? They're part of the same body. I don't believe that some of these churches are part of the same body. They have their own body, and it's the body of Satan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The body of the devil.
Well, I've talked to Dad about this a few. I think I've told you about this a few times.
Okay.
Where there's this culture of turning against, you know, uh, turning against what came before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I mean?
Right.
And I think that impulse comes from the again. I keep going back, the corruption of the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then the Protestant Reformation. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then now every Protestant church, it's like a few generations go by and they got to start a new church.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it does its own thing.
Right. That does its own thing because I interpreted the
Right.
scripture. This is the way I interpret the scripture. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And that's why I said it's the mother of harlots.
Yeah.
In the scriptures, the Catholic Church is called the mother of harlots. The main significant focus in the Catholic Church is not God the Father. It's not even Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's Mary,
Uh-huh.
mother.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the movie we watched the other day. That's the movie we watched the other day.
Word.
Yeah. So I think that that there has to be a clear definition. That's one of the things that you learn
Right.
in college. First thing you learn in college. You know,
Yeah.
make your definitions clear.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that you know where you stand, where things are delineated.
Right.
Because,
I always make broad freaking thesis questions. And like, this is too broad. You will be here all for the you will not pass this term if you try to answer this question. This is gonna take you so much time. This is years of work.
you're trying to change the world. Change the
One
world
piece,
in each class,
one
man.
piece, right?
Change the world in a semester. Take a little extra.
Right. Right. Like, you gotta shorten this, bro. You gotta have to narrow this down. I had that said to me so many times.
Yeah.
My thesis questions be huge, man. Like, they sound short, but when you really think about what's being said,
Right.
it's like, no, man, no. You're gonna have to go through mad different sources,
Scope
mad,
is too large.
mad scope. Yeah, the scope is too broad.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, man. I think we're gonna rest, man. I think this was a good dialogue. You know what I mean? A nice little introduction from my cousin. You know what I mean? Build on some things. And y'all can interpret it, you know what I'm saying, from scripture, the way the Most High sees fit to give you, you know what I'm saying? I pray that He give you a clear and full understanding of the Most High Yah. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shabbarakadah. You know what I'm saying? Baruch Adonai Atar Eloheinu. Melech HaOlam. Right? So, you know what I'm saying? Shalom to the people.
I hope it was
Shabbat
helpful.
Shalom to y'all who are observing the lunar Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? Much love to my family. Anything else you want to say?
I mean, I hope that I was helpful and I got
Oh,
some
no,
people.
man. People are going to come back and
People
look at this
thinking.
video. You're going to have some people in the chat, you know what I'm saying? They got their own views, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not worried about it.
Appreciate your opinions, you know what I'm saying? Your thoughts, you know what I mean? And even your ad hominems. We appreciate all of that. You're still watching. The 2.5 hours, right? So apparently we captured your attention. You know what I'm saying? Our job is done here.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean that's really where I'm at, you know.
Yeah, man.
And maybe I can expound on my issues with the Protestant
Yeah, we can do that.
understanding of the world.
Dialogue if you want to.
You know, I think
set up with Sister Karima.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
and then even like the way that the secular world is, the whole secular world is just built on Protestant understanding. You know,
That's interesting.
the whole secular.
That's you're gonna get some challenges for some debates on that. Somebody gonna challenge Kareem. Ain't somebody gonna challenge him on it?
Yeah.
You know how Mugabe is gonna be pissed to hear that shit. He is not the great gorilla. Oh no, you can't say things like that about secularism.
Secular humanism is all directly. I remember when I talked about the Quakers.
Yeah,
direct lineage. This is directly
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But yeah, we're gonna close it down. La Jefe, you still there? She might be calmed down.
She knocked out 119. So
La Jefe. Sis. Yeah, okay, so hopefully, hold on, where's my phone at? Maybe I can wake her up. Either way, we can close out, man. So I'm gonna pop off. Sister Kareem is there. I'm gonna try to contact her so she can close down. This again at a later date. Flat earthers, apples, Nuwapians, all y'all niggas can get smushed. Who else? Who else can get smushed?
I mean, the flat Earth thing it's not complicated.
You can't argue that with a flat earther, bro.
It's not complicated.
You know why? Because flat earthers do not argue their evidence for a flat earth. They only argue against the evidence for a globe.
Okay.
That is all they do.
Uh-huh.
They can never give you measurements. They say, well, technically, the edge of the Earth is, from the center of the circumference is such and such, and so therefore they can never give you that.
Mm-hmm.
They will never give you altitudes. Saying they'll never give you that, and then everything is always an argument against the present evidence alone. That is their entire argument is based upon saying, no, it didn't. No, they didn't. It wasn't.
We live in the internet age, right? We live in the internet age. Okay. So if I'm in a chat room full of people from all over the world,
and they're in different time zones,
and
right?
they're in different time zones.
They will explain that.
I can literally just ask someone.
They will argue against that.
Hey, is the sun up?
Right. What time is it over there?
What time is it? Is the sun up right now?
They said the sun is moving around the top of the disk.
Okay.
Like this.
Uh-huh.
And when it goes over here, you can't see it over here. When it comes over here, you can't see it over there.
It's like a donut-shaped disc. I've seen
I can't call it, man.
Stupid models. They have these models where it's like a donut.
I can't call it. Listen, it is a losing battle. It's a losing argument. I've lost to a flat earther.
You lost to a flat
earther? I lost to a flat earther. But that's only because one, my Corey Dawson. There's one because I couldn't get my my PowerPoint presentation up.
Uh-huh.
I was having technical difficulties.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then the second part is because I just decided that I couldn't do that, that I was just going to freaking use his evidence and freaking clown the shit out of his argument. You know what I'm saying? So and last but not least, 2 of the 3 judges were flat earth. Oh, no. We're not going to. Oh, no. I'm not going to hold that. No, I'm not going to hold that.
No. Look,
Abdul Abaka and Carl Away.
When I was a kid, we used to build rockets, and we
Uh-huh.
shoot the rocket up in the sky.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You can take a GoPro and strap it onto the rocket,
Right.
shoot it up to the sky. You know what I mean?
Right.
It'll go to the edge of space,
Right.
and you can see the curvature of the Earth
Right there.
in the
it
video.
has to be the fisheye lens. It's the fisheye
But-
lens.
But the lens works.
That's the dome. It's the dome of the Earth.
Mm,
The dome is creating, it's refracting the light that causes you to see a curve. I will give you all.
Okay,
of
wouldn't-
the, I will
wouldn't
give
there
you
be-
all the excuses.
but
they'll
wouldn't
give
there
you.
be stories of people falling off the edge?
People cannot reach the edge of the Earth.
Weren't there stories? There were
It's like
stories.
Pac-Man. When you go to one side, you appear on the other.
But there were stories when people believe this stuff. There were stories of people falling off the edge of the
Don't
Earth.
ask me how freaking the North Pole has like freaking 30 days a night. We can't explain that.
Mm.
The sun circles
And
around.
What is the purpose of this grand conspiracy? What is
I have no fucking
What
idea
the fuck is the
whatsoever.
point?
What is it supposed to accomplish? You know what I'm saying? The only thing I see that's happening is the recidivism of anti-intellectualism, people reverting back to caveman days, stick a bone in your nose,
Yeah.
and we don't live in America.
Let's see,
we
I
live
don't-
in Turtle fucking Island.
I
now.
don't think you have to get rid of science in order to believe in.
I don't either. I
Things are
believe
compatible.
I'm a theological
They're compatible.
yeah. I
So-
think science and religion goes together. His Imperial Majesty said that science, the achievements of science and spirituality must be equal.
Yeah.
It's only when science begins to go above
Above.
and
Yeah.
or religion goes above science
Right.
that we start seeing all of these imbalances and these destructive forces happening.
Right. Yep. And all sorts of crazy shit.
Right.
happens. Yeah.
Psychology is a science, y'all.
Yeah.
And so freaking being able to regulate, like this lovely lady always says, to emotionally regulate, be able to look at yourself and look at your thoughts and put everything in its proper place.
Yeah.
Know your proper place too. Stay in your lane. You're not God. Tyrone,
Who are you naming? These people.
Christ Mikhail,
Who are these people?
Yaju Judah, Yaju Dookie Judah, freaking Ataheni.
All these people are gonna show up in my email.
Nah, they don't know who you are. These are the cult leaders of the day. Freaking Cole Light, he in prison right now. You know what I'm saying? Prison guy. You know what I'm saying? God, Jesus, and you know what I'm saying? Nature Boy, he got it coming too. I don't know if he locked up, but I'm calling all of them out, man. And anybody who promoted them, you know what I'm saying? For real. Anybody who promoted them cats, man.
They thought they were God.
Nah, but you know what? We allow people to speak here freely. You know what I'm saying? We listen. We've let a lot of different cult cats come in here and talk their talk. You know what I'm saying? Lions Den don't discriminate. However, you know what I'm saying? We do G-check. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Sister Karima G-check. You know what I'm saying? Christ Mikhail a whole bunch of times. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, B. You know what I'm saying? Watch your mouth, B. You got a lot of people who have Messiah complex,
Yeah.
Jerusalem syndrome. You know what I'm saying? It tends to happen.
Right.
Robert Sapolsky, you know what I'm saying? A Stanford University professor. He talked about the benefits of religion, and he talked about mental health. And what he asserted was that religion gave a place and gave dignity to those who had certain mental health disorders. So someone who had, obsessive compulsive disorders or whatever like that, they were received into a place where they would do like orders, like the ordinances and the sacraments and you know what I'm saying, and the time they
Most of them would become priests.
they become priests and they were doing the prayers at certain times of day, and they were keeping the, you know what I'm saying, the sacred, you know what I'm saying, rites and all through the day and praying and reading.
This is something that we've lost.
performing. Yeah.
This is something that we've lost.
So these people had dignity within the community. They had a place, and those practices, even for themselves, gave them greater ability to control some of their own, you know what I'm saying, and some place to put it.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who had, for instance, like some schizophrenia and stuff, and they had hallucinations and stuff like that. These people would oftentimes become like shaman and visioners. They would become prophets and people who saw, you know what I'm saying, uh, 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 things of
These are
spiritual.
people who are very sensitive, overly
Right,
sensitive,
right,
overly sensitive
right,
to the unconscious thoughts
right,
of
right.
the
And
collective,
empaths,
of the
empaths.
collective. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right. You know what I'm saying? And they were healers and, you know what I'm saying, shaman and, you know what I'm saying, people who told stories and you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And they had a place within the community. It wasn't that religion made them insane. It was actually that religion made them saner.
yeah,
They were already crazy by whatever, you know what I'm saying, whatever issues, traumas or genetic, you know what I'm saying, mental deficiencies here and there could have caused those any of those issues. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? However, you know what I'm saying, instead of shaming those people in the community,
yeah,
they gave them a place, they gave them a job,
yeah,
you know, and gave
yeah.
them some dignity.
I mean, I totally agree with everything you say, and you know the going back to Ethiopia and
Mhm.
kingdoms in general.
Right.
You know, in the kingdom there would be, okay, so there's the king,
Mhm.
and then there's his advisors,
Right.
and there's different types of advisors.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there are the religious uh, uh, priests and things like that.
Huh.
And these people were like bred.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and from what I
You said they
understand,
were bred?
they were bred.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, there's you know, certain families and stuff like that that live in Ethiopia, and like they can just recite anything that's ever been read to them.
Right. Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Right.
Because of generations.
Generations of that gene being passed on and on
Right.
and on. It stays and that skill or whatever
Yep.
is passed on.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
deep, though.
Yeah. It's wild stuff, and you know, we've lost that whole structure. It's
Right,
just gone.
right,
You know, and I kind of believe that the way that we look at politicians today, you know, we don't look at them as politicians. We look at them as kings.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, technically, that term in the Hebrew and even in the Greek, right? So they use that term God. You'll see that term God in the Bible. And oftentimes people think that God solely refers to the Almighty, you know what I'm saying, entity, you know, the Almighty force, the power of all the universe.
Uh,
But in the terms of how the scripture uses Elohim, Elo, Eloheinu, uh, Elo, El, you know what I'm saying, the Canaanite, Yahweh, all of these terms have different meaning, right? And so one can be an Elohim. And an Elohim doesn't have to be an ontological angel. It can be somebody who is a human being who comes doing the will and acts as a vessel of Elohim.
uh,
You know what I'm saying? You know, El Elyon, right? The Most High, right? So El Elyon being the Most High, El Elohim are considered angels, but that word is malak in the Hebrew. That malak, Yahweh, that malak is somebody who is sent, whether it be an ontological angel or a human being acting according to the will of God,
right.
an anointed Messiah or
Right.
you understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
A high priest, somebody who's anointed to do the will and work of God, who submits to the will of the Father above their own human desires and does what God wills them to do.
Yeah.
Right. So so when you talk about, you know, that term when it comes to God, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to leaders, people who are placed in positions of power, that they can be evil God. An evil God is somebody who has authority and power over your life. but it's not of Elyon. You know what I'm saying? It's an evil god. It's God of God of death, God of destruction. All these things that become
War.
authorities, God of war, become authorities over your life, your existence, and cause you, you know what I'm saying, detriment or blessings or whatever. People in a position of authority were considered. So that term God, just whether it's to have a uppercase G or a lowercase G. You know what I'm saying? What is a God? A God is basically somebody who has authority, but who has the utmost authority is the question. And you know what I'm saying? I assert that that is the Most High Yahweh. You know what I mean? And we to go to Yahweh, not, you know what I'm saying? Now, the hands of God are the hands of God. We ought to see that God is using someone, you know, to do his will, not their own will, but his will.
My argument though is that the impulse to name a king
Right.
supersedes what is like,
I agree.
just a politician.
I agree. And this is why pedigree is important in answering the prophecy. Because anybody can say, I'm the king of Israel.
Yeah.
I'm the king of Israel. Nigga. I'm from the tribe of Judah.
Yeah.
I'm from King David and King Solomon. Right? Anybody can say that. But when 72 nations bow before a Negro whose freaking goddamn genealogy goes back 3,000 years,
Right. Yeah.
Now you have no question of whether you can't say nothing.
Yeah, what could be said?
You're done. You're done. There's no argument.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's established, it's accredited. And which is what you need to establish royal dignity and authority.
Right.
That comes through your genealogical history. It comes through your pedigree. Ain't nobody had the pedigree but one Negro. Hallelujah, back. These cats want to say, "Oh yeah, Judah's over here." The Bible said that when Israel came when Israel was brought on ships in Deuteronomy 28, you know what I'm saying? And I believe it was Deuteronomy 31 or 32 that said that they would not have no more remembrance of who they were. So you don't know what tribe you came from, nigga. You just know that you was an Israelite and your ancestors fit the prophecy of Deuteronomy 28.
So okay, so what do you think about like his kids are still around, right?
His children, his lineage is still here. The royal bloodline is here in America, and they are very active in trying to reestablish the theocracy, the theocratic democracy of their father.
Wow.
If they were to go over there, they'd be slain.
Yeah.
But they're very active with the Rastafarian community.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And the Rastafarian community is one of the largest growing communities in Africa right now.
I have heard that.
Talking about almost 3 million in South Africa alone.
Yeah. No, you told me about it.
Yeah.
You told me about it a couple days ago. Yeah.
You know, Nigeria, Ghana.
Yeah.
They dreading up and wearing Bubba Shanti turbans.
Yeah.
Waving the red, yellow, and green flags.
There's a lot going on there, man.
The Rastafari movement and the Israelite movement is growing. And they're finding out that, you know what I'm saying, many tribes that were scattered and dispersed even into Africa, into the West Africa and into South Africa, you know what I'm saying, have traditions and linguistics that are older than what we consider modern Hebrew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I always have this problem with people who are obsessed with Egypt.
Right. I think that to me is a form of white supremacy, and it really is.
You know what I mean?
The Egyptian
tribal life is sophisticated.
Yeah, right. But this is still a Nile Valley tradition at the end of the day. Yeah. But they want to argue against Israelism and call it, you know, saying some Greek construct. You know what I'm saying? It didn't come out until after the Septuagint. You know what I'm saying? There's no manuscripts. Nobody can show any Hebrew manuscripts. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, half of the library of Luxor, the library in Alexandria was burned down. How many scripts do y'all got? was written on them scrolls that was burned to the ground, and half of them are hidden in freaking the Vatican. Y'all ain't got shit.
I mean,
some rock face stone, some stone, you know what I'm saying, drawings and inscriptions, but you ain't got all of the text.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about this library was supposed to be one of the most freaking extensive libraries there was. Scrolls upon scrolls upon scrolls.
Yeah.
History lost.
Yeah.
Because of the Greeks.
Yeah.
Because of the Greeks. But somehow the Greeks didn't have the Hebrew manuscript. They just made up Judaism.
What? They made up Judaism.
That's what they say, man.
What?
They made up Judaism. Some of these niggas say, man.
Why?
Because I'll tell you why. Because you got that academic elite kind of group kind of you was talking about before.
Uh-huh.
And these cats are so anti-religion that they have to do the white man fallacy argument against Israelism.
Okay.
So Israelism came from the Greeks, came from the white man. You can't touch throw away the white man Bible.
White man can't touch anything. Right?
White man made that Bible. You ain't got no Hebrew manuscripts. That's what they saying, man. You know, and that's absurd.
There wasn't that area where most of the Bible takes place, right?
Right.
This is a
technically it's Africa.
I mean,
I'm not talking about I'm not talking about Greece. We're dealing with Paul, yeah.
But it's a hub. Didn't the Silk Road go through there? It's like the you know what I mean? All of the trade routes in the world, the whole world was there.
Right. Good point.
Doesn't make sense. So
go ahead, man.
The white folks were there. They were there. And they had a lot to say. I mean, I don't know what to tell you about that.
You gotta call them Edomites.
Edomites. That doesn't sound very good.
No, it's not right. It's not right.
Doesn't sound very good.
That's not even who they're not Edomites, they're Japhetites. Well, maybe some of the Romans would. Because Romans came from
I mean, I like the Greek philosophy. I like
Esau.
The contributions of the Greek Orthodox Church, but you know what I mean? Whatever people have to say.
It's funny, man. There's a lot of, but it's good. It's good back and forth. It's good argumentation.
Yeah.
It's good, you know what I'm saying? Scrutiny, you know. I think it's necessary. All right, so I'm gonna close out. Lahefe, I don't know if you can hear me still. You're probably knocked out still. We're just gonna close out. You can hit the X on there. She'll get to it.
That was fun.
It was fun. You know what I'm saying? Bless y'all. You know what I'm saying? Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
Later.